everyone. Welcome to the next episode of The Latest Thread. Thanks so much for joining us. Today, we actually have a couple of guest speakers. We have Jennifer Smith, Director of Operations from Gamel, and we also have Karen Farnsworth. She's one of the Computerized educators. So today we're going to talk about something new and exciting that's happening at Gamel. And Jennifer's going to tell us about it.
So we, this week, we launched our online education classes, and we are just thrilled. These ladies that are on the screen, along with the rest of our educators, have been working very hard behind the scenes, and their work actually started last year. Last year we did Quilting with Confidence for the first time, and we traveled everywhere. I don't even remember where all we went, but we went everywhere and saw so many of you in person and did classes. It was 2 full days of learning, everything from maintenance to, how do I quilt this type things and everything in between. At the end of the year, we all got together kind of for a celebration, and we actually filmed those classes with the intention of making them available at some point. So fast forward to March and the craziness that kind of hit, we looked at what was going on and the lack of shows and different things, and obviously moved forward with Virtual Quilt Show. And that was a great success. And overwhelmingly, what we heard afterwards was we still want a way to do online classes, especially since quilt shows and everything are so unsure, at least for, the short term. But online education is actually something that we had been looking at and was already in our plans. And so we took those classes that we recorded last year, and we have made them available along with many individual classes from these ladies and the rest of our educators. So we're super excited.
Awesome.
Wow, that is exciting. So the classes from the tour last year, what if somebody already attended the tour? Should they still want to buy those classes, and is there a discount maybe?
Absolutely. So if you attended last year in person, you do get a discount. It's basically 50% off of the classes. Rather than 2 days to take the classes, you get 30 days. And you can also do a subscription on both the tour classes and any of our other classes. So you can buy the initial class and then pay a monthly fee to keep them for up to 12 months.
Awesome.
Oh, wow, that makes it appealing.
Yes, definitely. And actually, on our first day, in the first few hours after we launched, I think it was 4 out of 5 of the tour classes that were purchased from people that had been there previously. So it's very valuable information. And I heard everybody say, I was at several of the events, not as many as you guys were, but I heard you guys say, practice. If you want to look like somebody that quilts 40 hours a week, you've got to quilt 40 hours a week. And I know they took that home and have been trying to do it, but, this is a good refresher for those that did come in. You can kind of see the work in the videos over and over again. And, on the hand-guided side, at least, it applies to people outside of Gamel owners also, because it's hand-guided techniques. So people that don't own Gamel are welcome to join us also.
Great. Now, the classes, other than the tour classes, are they all pre-recorded, or is there live classes like in the Virtual Quilt Show also?
These are all pre-recorded classes because of the model that we set up where you have 30 days to take them. We figured we should not, make you guys be available 24/7 for 30 days. Or our chat people. So they're all pre-recorded. I think there's some live question and answer session, element type things that will occur through the month. But for the most part, they're recorded, which means you get to start and stop at your leisure. If your husband comes in and annoys you, you can push pause, deal with him, and then go back. Or if it's your wife coming in to annoy you, whatever it is. So.
Great.
And they have the hour with an educator kind of thing too.
Yes, and so that's the other new thing that we have is, I think, did we settle on hour with an educator? We've named it several things over the course of time. But you can actually do a one-on-one consult with any of our educators, and you can go on and schedule a time. You get to schedule it. You don't just have to show up when they're available. You go onto their calendar, you can see what times are available, and you can meet with them for an hour. It's not intended to be a class. They're not coming in with a bunch of materials that they're going to teach you during that time. It's like a partnership. You get to come in and sit down and say, hey, Jody, here's my quilt. This is a picture of what I'm working on. Or, hey, Karen, I'm really stuck on figuring out how to do this border corner thing. So what do I do there? And everybody knows that when you take a class, you have questions at the end and you want to ask the educator, but so many other people have questions that sometimes we walk away and go, well, I'll get it answered later. This is your time. This is your chance to meet with everybody, whoever you want. You can schedule as many as you'd like, but come in and just really kind of have that one-on-one time and ask whatever burning question that you need or whatever help you need.
Very cool.
Yeah. But again, we're super excited. The other thing about the tour classes is there are 3 tracks. In person, there were 2. We had a computerized track and we had a hand-guided track. We have separated that into 3. So there is a track for Elevate, a track for Statler, and then the hand-guided track. The Elevate classes, there are 2 Elevate-specific classes that, were kind of those one-on-one classes that we had during the computerized sessions.
Great.
That's really exciting. I know the students will appreciate that.
Yeah, we are just thrilled. And, we are so glad to be able to bring education to people at home, again, because so many of us are still stuck at home, but also just because of the convenience of being able to go back and rewatch and learn and, have that one-on-one time and ask the questions. And, while they're practicing and getting better, those reminders where they can go back and access that.
Well, and so many people aren't able to go to these shows or even to the events, due to what they have going on at home during normal times. So, and then there's people that don't like to take classes along with many other people in the same room. They're more learning by themselves. So it just offers a great opportunity for all kinds of reasons, I think.
Exactly.
Okay, anybody else have any questions for Jennifer?
Related to education?
Well, we thank you very much for joining us. You can stick around if you'd like. But yeah, and I guess the classes can all be found on the GAML website, right?
Yes, they can. You just go to gaml.com and you will see several places where you can get to the education choices. There's a banner up top you can click and get there. I'm not sure exactly how many classes are available, but you would just choose whether you want computerized class, kind of a general class, or a hand-guided class, and then you'll see all the different classes. The tour courses, again, are the, kind of the bigger classes because it's 2 in-person days worth of learning. And then there are the individual classes, which are anywhere from 90 minutes to 4 or 5 hours, kind of depending on which class that you decide to take.
Okay,
And
thanks.
my understanding, I think, that there will be more classes added all the time. Is that right?
Yes.
So periodically, people should check back and see.
Yeah,
if
definitely.
classes.
We started with a certain, we put a few out, and we're going to see kind of how it goes, and hopefully it'll be, I keep referring to it as kind of a Disney library, where we want to be able to just go back, and the new movies are fun, and, I love watching Lion King with my kids, and, all the new remakes of Beauty and the Beast, but I also like to go back and watch Fox and the Hound. And so I think the classes will be the same thing. You'll have those new techniques you want to learn, and you'll be, working on something, and then you'll go, oh my gosh, there's this really basic thing that I can't remember how to do. I'm going to throw Karen Marchetti under the bus a little bit here, but she expects it from me, so it's okay. But I can remember when we were developing the Quilting with Confidence tour classes, she was sitting there one day, she was like, I can't do ribbon candy, apparently. She does all sorts of things. She quilts for a living. She's great at it. But sometimes we have to go back and go, oh, wait, okay, there's this technique that is one of our starter techniques, but I haven't touched it in forever. So those classes being available, especially the subscription, because it's between $5 and $10 a month, depending on the length of the class, to be able to kind of keep that as your subscription and then go back and be able to access those things later, it's really good.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, I'll quit talking. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, that was a lot of interesting information. So we're going to go on break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about some of the individual tracks and the classes that are being offered within those. So see you in a bit. Welcome back. So now we are going to talk about some of the classes that are included in the tracks, whether it's from the tour classes from last year or some of the new ones that are being offered. So let's start with the computerized or Statler classes from the tour. Karen, do you want to tell us about some of those?
Sure. So to get started, what's available right now on Gamble Education is, of course, the 2019 tour. So the computerized track, either Elevate users or the Statler users each have their own set of classes. And we try to keep everything from the tour in those recorded classes. So if you came to the tour, you've seen probably most of what is in those videos, but you probably have also maybe forgotten some of it, or it would be a good refresher. We do find that a lot of people like to come back and review the recorded videos, even if they've seen the live classes. It might be a different teacher in the video than you had in your live class, and that can be a good way to learn as well. So we're really excited about that, the 2019 Quilting with Confidence tour classes. Those are available for Statler or Elevate, or of course for the hand-guided. But in addition to that, we also have all of the educators, the computerized educators have provided or started adding some other classes. So you'll just have to go to the Gamble Education website there, go to gamble.com, and browse around and look at the computerized offerings, because there's a variety of topics. I have a class, for instance, designing patterns. But all of the other educators have added classes as well. And if you've seen any of us teach, the computerized educators are just like the hand-guided educators. We each have our own talents and strengths and kind of a niche that we like. So I really love the design part of things. And so that's kind of what I've added as far as the first classes to offer to everybody. But Christine Perigo, for instance, is really big on the modern styling. So her classes kind of have that modern flair. Or Georgia Stoll is really good with basics and really teaching the in-depth basics of quilting. And so that's just a few examples, but all of the instructors have really, really good strengths. I suggest people go check out the classes and take classes from a variety of instructors. And if you're a computerized user, if you have a Statler or an Elevate, please look at the hand-guided classes, because you will learn a ton of awesome stuff. I love hand-guided classes. So sorry, I'm taking over your
No, well,
No, it's good.
Tell I'm really excited about this education stuff. I think the students are going to love it. I think y'all are going to love it.
And like our education classes, not the tour. The tour is broken up just like you guys did. Each teacher teaches one class. But on our new education stuff, we all teach the same class 4 different ways. So like you're getting one piece and you have 4 total different takes on that same piece. So it's kind of neat that way too.
Yeah.
You know, and hand-guided is a little bit different by default because the computerized track, is based on CS7 Creative Studio, whereas for the hand-guided track, we're not using a program, obviously, but what's fun about some of our classes that we're offering is that they're dealing with a design process. It's not just necessarily a technique, which there are some techniques also, but the cool part is people always want to know, how did you think of that? How did you get from point A to point Z with your thinking? And so, we're offering several classes. And because 4 of us are doing this, it's really because we all have different styles. So I would guess it might be really unique for someone to take some of those for that reason.
Yeah.
I think that's probably my favorite part of those, because it's interesting, even for me, when we see each other's, method, because everyone's brain just works so differently to get to their final thing. I think that's a really neat thing, so sometimes, maybe you take a class and you can't really relate to a teacher every once in a while, because you don't think that way. So this is neat because you get to see all these different kind of processes.
You see our thinking.
Yeah.
Well, and there's really, there shouldn't be any rules in quilting. So the same, we can arrive at a similar point for the, project or whatever, the design, but we all get there different ways. But I also wanted to ask Karen, what level of difficulties are the computerized classes? Is even someone that's thinking about getting a computerized machine still going to benefit from those classes? Is there a nice range or?
Yeah, I'm really glad you asked that, actually, because the students, the people that are looking for education, ask the same question. So there really is quite a range of skill level for these classes, and definitely there are classes available for somebody that might not even have their computerized quilting machine yet, not have their Elevate or their Statler yet, but there are classes that will help them get started in Creative Studio for sure. And we're trying very hard to make sure that we add kind of a skill level, add that information to this description of the class. So if somebody has a question about whether this class is right for their particular level, where they're at in their quilting, hopefully the description will give them an idea of whether that class is right for them or not.
And even though there's a separate Elevate track, but we probably should point out too that the Elevate users, could still and can still benefit, if they want to expand on their knowledge with the Elevate, to take some of the Statler classes as well as the hand-guided classes also. So, they actually can benefit from all of the classes.
They can, actually. So an Elevate owner should be able to utilize information from any Creative Studio class. So we don't really label any of our classes Statler classes. They're Creative Studio classes. The only exception to that is the actual track for the 2019 tour, because they have the set of classes for Elevate and the set of classes for Statler, which are mostly the same classes except for a few classes that are specific to the Elevate, of course. So, but any Creative Studio class should benefit an Elevate owner. So that's why we call it computerized rather than Statler or Elevate. So absolutely should definitely benefit them.
I say that a lot. I say, like, I'm a CS7 user. I am not a Statler user.
Okay, anybody else can think of anything else to mention? I know we are all super excited. I mean, this is brand new. They just came out, and we are excited to want to share with you, so hopefully you take advantage of signing up for some of those classes. Karen's anxious.
You can always tell when I gotta say something. But I wanted to add that we're gonna add just a real quick little slideshow at the end of this episode to share some of the photos of the cool things from the 2019 tour. So if you haven't taken it and you're interested, we'll have a little quick slideshow at the end.
Excellent. So don't forget to go to gamel.com, check out the classes, because you'll be surprised what variety is being offered. And as always, if you want to hear us talk about certain topics here on the latest thread, please hashtag the latest thread on any one of the Gamel groups. So, because we'd love to, acknowledge if you want to know something, we'll be happy to talk about it. So, till next time, see ya.
Bye.
Bye.